What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Been absent for a little while here, and for that I apologize. And I know what you were all thinking. You wanted a Revolver update. So we got one for you. And if you're new to the channel here because you were searching for a help me video, welcome. So I was practicing with my 627 Smith & Wesson Revolver today. And being the buffoon that I am, I forgot my mooning tool. All right, so I was shooting 38 short Colt without moon clips in my wheel gun. I've always shot with moon clips before, just because I'm practicing for an I-Cord event. But today it was more important. The main goal was I was chronoing some ammo. I wanted to make sure my ammo was hot enough for a match that I was going to. Getting some practice on the side, and got to a point. I shot a couple hundred rounds. All of a sudden, my cylinder locked up. I could not pull the trigger. I could only get the hammer to move like that much back. All right, so not even a quarter of the way. It would pull a little bit, and then it was just locked up tight, and I could not figure it out. And warning for you safety Sallies out there, maybe just skip ahead a minute, okay? The gun was stuck with live ammo in it, all right? I had at least 3 live rounds in the Revolver, could not pull the trigger, could not get the cylinder open, all right? I couldn't figure it out. And so I couldn't, at the range, I could not quickly figure out what was going on with this thing. So I went home and watched some YouTube videos. Now, if you found this video, you probably found those videos too. And what they're talking about there is sometimes the crane can come unscrewed. This part right here is actually threaded in there, and sometimes if that comes loose, it can walk its way loose so that it's sticking out just enough that there's not enough clearance. If you watch up here, there's not enough clearance for that guy to get out of the way so that you can open this thing. All right, that's very common. There's a few videos out there showing you how to do that. I did not have that issue. I tried that. I knew I didn't have that issue, and so I had suspected that because they're not right here. Wait, yeah, there. Because I was shooting without moon clips, I had noticed that I was getting some deformation of the primer. All right, that thing is mushrooming back there. No, I know what you're thinking out there. Someone who's very clever is like, well, you have overpressure in your cartridge. You got way too much powder in there. Nah, dude. There's 3 grains of tight group in there. The powder charge almost doesn't, on my Dillon, it almost doesn't go in any farther. Like, it's almost the smallest charge I can throw. But because my cylinder is chamfered, and because I didn't have a moon clip in there, there's enough clearance in there for this to move back a little bit. So some of that pressure has lack of resistance to go backwards. So where normally there's a little bit of gap in there, all right, now you light off a bunch of expanding gas in there. The cartridge balloons against the walls of the chamber and up against the back of the cylinder. So I knew that was happening. So what I suspected was that I had a stuck firing pin. All right, so for all of you back home, see, I took all the fire control out of this thing so you can all just calm down. But my firing pin was stuck, and when you look, you're not gonna be able to see it on here, but it was flush up against the frame in there, stuck forward. All right, so I knew essentially what I had was I could not get the cylinder open because the firing pin was essentially javelined into the back of the primer. How to get that out? Looked for a YouTube video, couldn't find one, which is why I'm making this one. So if this is you, relax. First of all, don't take your gun this far apart. You don't have to do that. All right. But Somebody who out there who was very clever thought, oh, what you can do is shove a pencil down there, because you have to essentially get through the flash hole in your cartridge to get that thing loose. Gave that a try, and that didn't work. So read down the forum a little bit more. This thread that I found was from 2015. All right, so I'm recording this in 2025. That was 10 years ago. Was the first thing that I could find that would be of any help. First guy said, shove a pencil down there, and that seemed like a decent idea, but that did not work. Then somebody had an elaborate scheme of rigging up some kind of jig to go down, and yes, I knew this was a fired cartridge. Again, calm down. But I knew they talked about having a rigging up some kind of jig to get a punch down there and essentially punching through that flash hole to get the pin to come loose. I was worried that's what I was going to have to do. I was really hoping to avoid that. So I read one more time, and somebody had the clever idea, and this is what I'm here to tell you. He said to push on the cylinder latch. All right, so unlatch it, and then gently tap with your number 2 gunsmithing hammer. I don't know if it's a number 2. I just called it that. But if you just... That jarred it enough, deformed the primer enough that my firing pin did in fact come out. Now, because I had it disassembled like this, of course it shot across the room. I quickly found the firing pin. Took me an embarrassing amount of time to find that spring, but I did find it. It's right here. Look at that. Look at that little guy. All right. So if your cylinder is stuck, all right, and you're sure it's not the crane, because the crane is the most common, but if you're sure you got a firing pin stuck in there, press on the latch, all right, so it's open, or the mechanism is open, plastic side, gently tap. That will jar it enough. It's under spring pressure in there. It'll jar it enough to get your cylinder out. Now, for you viewers at home, this is still the loaded cylinder from when I shot it. All right, and that guy right there is the primer in question. So I have an extended TK firing pin in there. Combination of that TK firing pin, these Federal primers, not using a moon clip, that thing going all the way back in there, expanded enough to puncture and fire form around the primer, shutting down the gun, getting me killed in the streets, and having to go home and figure this all out. But you can see that I did have some live ammo still in there, but I knew I was down on an empty chamber, and revolvers don't just go off by themselves anyway. So that is your culprit right there. Lesson learned here, I think, is I definitely am going to shoot this gun with moon clips, which is what I want to do anyway. Like I said, I was just chronoing to see what this ammo was shooting and getting a little bit practice in on the side. Got a little learning journey in here for you as well. But if you have a Smith & Wesson revolver and your firing pin is stuck in the primer, don't do all of this, all right, which I did to figure this all out, but just press on that latch, gentle tap, not even a hit, all right, gentle tap, slight suggestion. You're just trying to jar the slide or the cylinder, pistol shooter here, just trying to jar the cylinder enough to that firing pin that is under spring pressure will come loose, and you'll be home free. You probably could even fix that in the field if you had your good old number 2 Brownells gunsmithing hammer with you, or the equivalent, like, say, the butt end of a screwdriver. But that is how it's going in revolver land. It's kind of intriguing as an enthusiast. It's a pain in the ass in any other aspect. Maybe this inspired you to try some Revolver stuff, or maybe swear it off indefinitely. But more importantly, if you are a stock cylinder guy out there, I hope that helps you, because this is the kind of information that I really want to put out. I don't really care so much about the clicks. I'm trying to put out information for people like me who are out there trying to find an answer about stuff that most people don't really put out information on. So there you go. Stuck jammed Revolver, firing pin stuck in the primer hole. That's how you get it out. See you guys next time.